Welcome to the weekly Threat Insights group conversation. We're going to jump right into our agenda. I added the top item. So we have talked in recent retrospectives around wanting to have more insight into what everybody's working on going into the milestone. So in the last couple of milestones, we have experimented with, but I wouldn't say successfully timed, a retrospective discussion during these group meetings. So we're going to go through the front end and back end issues that are currently slated for 1312. And I am going to ask individuals from those teams to go down the list for us. There is a link in the agenda to take you to a board that's pretty easy to view. We're going to look at the ready for development and blocked issues and summarize to your best degree. I know that might be hard. So I already know who's doing it for the front end team. And I'm pretty sure I picked on Jonathan to do this last time for back end. So Sebastian, do you mind doing this for the back end team today?
Sure, I can go.
Would you like to share, or should we just do this?
Let me share.
Yeah, I think it might be easier if you share the board as you're doing it. Try to put you on the spot, and thank you.
No, that's okay. I think I'm sharing the right screen. Yeah, this one, right? Can you see my screen?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, so I think I'm going through this, the ready for development.
Yes, and if you see patterns or, like all 4 of these issues are in one epic, you don't necessarily need to talk about all of them. And I don't think you need to click into them and like go into great detail either. This is more of a high level, hey, this is what we're working on.
Okay, so it seems like we are working on add ability to search instance security dashboard projects GraphQL query. We are
it's a
adding
blocker
some
for a front end issue, just to call out. Sorry to interrupt you, Sebastian.
Yeah, sure. Please add. I
Yeah,
don't
Daniel's
know.
been working on some
Yeah.
updates for our project filter, and we identified some need for updates to the GraphQL query that this was stemming from.
Okay. Yeah. Should I go for the next one? Ignore the unnecessary columns from the security findings table. Seems like an easy one. And perform audit, identity, and address underperforming SQL queries. Some SQL queries that needs some attention. I don't know, it's refined, right? So maybe we had all the SQL queries. We just need to audit them. Please add if you want to add some other information. Clean up vulnerabilities with missing findings. Okay. I think there are some missing findings that has vulnerabilities entry. We need to clean those up, I think.
Just a question here.
Yep.
The vulnerabilities are so there is a one-to-one relationship with the findings, right? So how come that we generate vulnerabilities if there are no findings? Do we know this?
I don't
Jonathan?
know.
We shouldn't.
We shouldn't.
That's why we have to clean them up, because we should not be creating vulnerabilities with the missing finding.
But yeah, that's the question. So if maybe does this issue also tackle with the root cause of this, because we shouldn't have vulnerabilities if we don't have findings. So clearly somewhere in the code we have something that generates vulnerabilities that have no findings.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So this is a follow-on from a bug that we had fixed a couple weeks back, where it was I was looking for, let's see, I was trying to find findings to fix the bug.
I think it was for CSV not loading because of the missing vulnerability, missing findings or something. You fixed that, Jonathan?
Well, it was trying to pull data for findings that weren't there, and it was throwing an error. I think what was creating the vulnerabilities without the findings has also been fixed.
Okay. Just curious.
You can add
Yeah.
a comment to the issue if you want to confirm, Savash.
Sorry, Lindsay?
You should feel free to add a comment to the issue asking that question if you'd like to confirm.
Yeah, I mean, we can, and yeah, we should confirm, and that's a good point. We should confirm that everything is, we are not still creating vulnerabilities without findings.
Yeah, agree. We need some constraint there.
So question though, what's going to happen when we do or finish the manual vulnerability creation where you can create a record directly against a project? It won't have a finding because by definition, you're just entering in manual data.
It's going to have a finding. A vulnerability is pretty much required to have a finding. A vulnerability is required to have a finding for it to be a valid vulnerability.
So then that'll just like be behind the scenes directly against, I guess, the default branch for that project.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And along those same lines, I think I mentioned before, is like we're gonna have to figure out, like, because a finding has to have a pipeline, and so we're gonna have to figure out how to. A vulnerability has to have a finding has to have a pipeline.
No.
But if it's manually created, it's not gonna have a pipeline, so we're gonna have to deal with that little idiosyncrasy as well.
Probably in the UX, we should and then in the vulnerability creation page, we should just specify that first you need to run a pipeline, and the pipeline needs to find findings, and only then you can create manual vulnerabilities.
Well, that's the thing, is that we want to be able to create vulnerabilities without having to run a pipeline that they can just put in there. So we need to be able to, we pretty much need to be able to create a vulnerability, a manual vulnerability, without a pipeline run.
Which today is not possible, right? Because you need to have a finding.
Right.
Okay.
Today it's not possible. So we have to work that out.
And that epic is still in planning breakdown with the back end to probably work out some of these details right now.
Yeah, probably.
So let's keep moving.
Okay. The next one is restrict vulnerability pages for reporter and below. I think there is some leaking going on. The vulnerability pages are shown to not expected users or something. So we need to restrict. Then
and just to call it, that's a security issue that's past our SLA. So I would, I'll talk to Tiago, but I'd love to see that pulled up in priority. We shouldn't let security issues go 2 months past their due date.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, thanks. Created issue feedback does not show on pipeline security tab. Created issue feedback. Yep. Okay. Discover project security link is not visible in sidebar. Discover project security link. I don't. It's not
I think it's.
It's on the sidebar link.
Yeah, the sidebar. I think it needs to contain a discover project security link, which is not visible right now. Okay. I had a hard time to show it. I remember that I used to work on something related.
Okay. No method error, undefined method configured to create issue from vulnerabilities for nil class. Must be something that's missing. We need to check or something. Last updated on the security dashboard does not seem to link to a successful pipeline all the time. Okay.
Which is a new feature that we'd added and a bug that came out of that that only happens sporadically.
Okay. Last updated on the security dashboard. Populate a new issue from vulnerability finding. Do we have that right now? This.
No. That one is actually, it was blocked. I had that one in my backlog or in my list of issues for a while we were trying to get some other issues that was blocking that. That one finally came unblocked, but I was also in the middle of doing some other things. So that's why it's back in the list.
Thanks, John. Introduce a present on default branch Boolean to vulnerability model. I think it came from the discussions that's to get rid of the feedback model or something. Yep. Remove always null fields from vulnerabilities. Okay. What does it mean? Remove always null fields from vulnerabilities. Is it the entry of the fields? That's a
Yeah,
null?
there's certain fields and vulnerabilities that were always going to be null that we never populate with anything. They were put in there thinking, hey, we're going to do something with this later, but we never did. And so we just need to yank those fields out.
Okay, so it's unused fields. Okay.
Right.
Use vulnerability external issue link create mutation for creating a JIRA on vulnerability details page. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Sorry, regarding the one above, are we going to remove those fields from the database?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this may also have front-end changes if we're pulling those fields in GraphQL or.
But it sounds like we are not using those, right? I don't know the details.
Okay, so there's a list here. Okay, I can check. I can check later.
Okay, so it seems like we need to create a mutation for JIRA issue for vulnerability details page. And enable migration, create table with foreign keys, DB Robocop rule. Okay, we need to create a Robocop rule for that. It's 5 weights, right? I'm just curious, like what, I don't know. So are we talking about adding a Robocop rule for migration or something? Enable migration creatable with one keys. Okay, we can check later. Include additional information in vulnerability report export, date detected and location. 2 more fields. Seems like it's straightforward. And enable JIRA for vulnerabilities feature flag. Activity filter on vulnerability report throws error in group level dashboard. And benchmark current DB calls for which pages?
So that one is specifically to figure out where our major slowdowns are coming from the vulnerability finder. Well, it's in the vulnerability thing that I listed all the ones to check, the queries, the scopes.
Okay. Seems like these are the issues ready for development. And
one call out, that one right there that that you just had, go up a little bit. Sorry, the JIRA one is actually a mislabeled front end issue. So someone on oh, you already. It was the use vulnerability external issue link creation mutation for creating JIRA issue on vulnerability details page. The really catchy titled one is a front end issue that was created. The GraphQL endpoint already exists, and we're just not using it yet on the details page. And so it looks like Janik from Neil's team has already picked it up. It was a list identified of work that if they had bandwidth, they could grab and work on in the next couple of milestones. So I'm correcting that right now. So anyone on the backend team who is curious about that one, ignore it. It's going to move to a front end issue right now.
Nice. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Lisa. Are we also discussing blocked issues as well?
I think it's good to just call them out so we know what they're blocked on.
Okay. Findings, evidence, details. What is, I have no idea what is that. Evidence field on the adds extra fields to the evidence fields of the security report schema. It's blocked by new borders for findings evidence. Okay. And create mutation to support vulnerability feedback creation. It's also blocked.
As a note, I am working on that new model for the findings evidence right now, so that's in progress and should be hopefully done early next week.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan. So the next issue is blocked is create mutation to support vulnerability feedback creation. Okay.
I'll call out to Tiago that this is blocked on an issue that's in a future milestone, so that'll make it hard to address this milestone. We can correct that async though.
Okay. Yeah, it's 14.1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
That's it.
Thank you, Subhashish.
Thanks. Thanks for
In the future, we should probably make sure either we don't have a lot of items waiting in refinement when we do this conversation, or that we have time. I don't think we have time to go through the refinement issues right now if we're going to talk about the front end issues, and there's one other item on the agenda. But if everyone can make sure that if you have something assigned to you in refinement for 1312, that you prioritize that and try and get it completed in the next couple of days, that would be helpful.
Thank you.
Subhash, can you do the same for us for the front end? Hi, Mihal. Or should I say Mr. President?
Is it this one? It's yes, exactly. Okay, so here are the front end issues. Basically, we just went through these with Lindsay, so I know that they're grouped. The first ones, for instance, are grouped by the pipeline. So this is regarding migrating the pipeline security to GraphQL. So this use GraphQL vulnerabilities for pipeline security tab, and then use vulnerability details component for pipeline security tab vulnerabilities model. So basically, this one is just using the vulnerability details page inside the model that appears in the pipeline. And there's we need to enable the feature flag here on top. And then we have use on vulnerability details page, change fetching of vulnerability to GraphQL. So fetching of right now this is injected to DOM. We need to change that to GraphQL. And then as part of a cleanup, since we will be removing so we will be migrating to GraphQL, we can remove the Vuex version of the vulnerability list as a cleanup. Then we have the feature flag, just enabling the feature flag for every user, I guess.
Yeah, it's already up there and defaulted to on. It's just a matter of removing the code around it now that we're confident with that integration.
Yeah, so it's regarding that one. And then we have a few issues regarding the generic report schema. All of these are basically creating new components. So for instance, this one is creating the table component for the generic report schema. This one is creating the value type, which will display a string, in integer, or Boolean. And then we have the markdown component.
And to add the rest of those components, we broke them down one issue for each data type. The rest are in refinement. And they're all very small. So the hope is that they'll all still fit in 1312 once the refinement is done.
And then we have a couple of bugs. So this one is basically error when loading results, showing in MR while scanning is in progress, but displays correctly when pipeline completes. The title is, I think it's pretty explanatory. And then we have this can't dismiss vulnerability from MR widget,
which may go away. You know, that bottom one, once we do the work around converting the pipeline modal to use all of the shared endpoints and components, that final bug might just be fixed by the time we get to it. Here's hoping.
That's true. And then we have 3 of these issues are blocked, but they're all blocked because the backend counterparts they still need to be implemented. So as soon as the backend is implemented, we should be able to work on these features.
Thank you.
Oh,
Subhash.
this one is blocked because first we need to implement the migration.
And I don't think we're very consistent about our blocked workflow state versus blocked, if something's blocked by an issue there, just call that out. But thank you, Subhash. I hope that was helpful for everyone to understand what we're working on coming into 1312. We're going to do this also for container security, and our goal is to have this conversation once at the beginning of each milestone. Hopefully over time it'll get a little more natural and quicker and won't take up the whole meeting, but we appreciate you guys going through that.
Real quick, so you say I'm trying to remember. So there's the blocked flag and the blocked
Yes.
workflow state.
Right.
Both
So
of
you
those
can-
need to be set to on, or which one's the important one?
It's a good question. And I think we should decide that as a group. And I'm not sure what the correct answer is. So I don't know what I think it might be both, to be honest with you. If you just put something in the blocked column and you don't say what it's blocked by, that's not very helpful. If you
Right.
put a blocker on the issue, like say this is blocked by issue 1, 2, 3, at least the person will see that, but they have to click into it and probably grab it before they see that, and they might miss it. So I kind of want to say both. It feels a little redundant and like extra work, but what do you guys think?
I mean, we have to have the issue in there. We have to have, I think putting in the workflow keeps things tracked. I don't know what the blocked flag does, like that, the red flag that says blocked.
That's just when you associate an issue as blocked by. And
It
the problem with
automatically puts
that
that
is
in,
that
or-
even once that issue is closed, it still shows that little circle. So if you say I'm
Yeah.
blocked on issue 1, 2, 3, it's gonna immediately show that, indicator on the issue board. But then when issue 1, 2, 3 gets closed, that indicator still shows there. There's no visual indicator that blocking issue is now resolved either. So that would be a nice product enhancement.
So, I mean, does that mean that we need to move them from, like, manually move them from blocked to linked issue?
I
Well,
have done that
that's-
on occasion just when I was
Yeah.
worried that it wouldn't be clear to the person that was looking at it. So that's a good question. And I don't know if we should make that part of our process or just assume that if we did both, once it's blocked, right? If we both put the
Yeah.
workflow state on and the blocker, we would eventually just start to ignore that visual indicator of something being blocked once it's in the ready for dev column, because you wouldn't move it back to ready for dev until the blocked issue was resolved. The manual bit of this is kind of a pain, but honestly, it should be for, I don't know. So far, Tiago and I have been doing it, but we should find a better way to improve the instruction around that process so that everybody knows what to do when they see that happen.
I've tried to move them from blocked to linked just so it gets rid of that blocked, like, so that it doesn't show it's blocked by something because it's no longer blocked, and it'd be
Awesome.
nice if it automatically went in the workflow as soon as that issue's closed, then it, moves out of the blocked by column, or the little icon removes.
Yeah, one of the two. I mean, it almost feels like either would work. I'm going to take a minute this morning and see if I can find an issue that exists around that, Jonathan, because I feel like this is something we've talked about quite a bit.
Ooh, I'll put it in the retrospective too.
Ooh, good idea. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
I got my contribution. I'm done with the retro.
All right, the last item on the agenda is from Savash. Savash, do you want to talk about your needs and backend help?
Yeah. So since we still have a couple of minutes, I think I can share my screen and then describe the problem that I was going through today. So basically, I'm working on this. Not this one, not this one, this one. So I'm implementing. Okay, I'm just gonna hold on, move this zoom bar somewhere else so I can see. So I'm just adding the dismissal reason to the vulnerability details page. I did that. It works. And as you can see here, the vulnerability object receives the dismissal feedback. It took me a while to figure out the backend data structure. But thanks to John, I was able to figure out that the dismissal reason is inside the dismissal feedback object. And it just pops here. But the problem is with GraphQL. So when I change this, the status, and then I change it back to dismiss a reason, we're using GraphQL to fetch the new version. And I was not able to populate that field using GraphQL. So this is one part where I need help with the backend. And the second one is when I dismiss it, the dismissal reason doesn't seem to populate. It's always nil. I had to go to the database and then manually change the field in order to get this false positive here. So I think this could be a bug, or maybe I don't know how to populate that using the UI. So this is the second part where I need help.
We don't have feedback for confirm. I think
no,
Mihao, if you can.
Sorry, this is.
We talked about this.
Sorry,
You're muted.
I think.
Yep.
Am I?
I'm trying to remember where we are on this, because we were talking about getting rid of all the feedback and replacing it.
So okay, just to quickly reiterate on what we have agreed upon. Okay, actually, we only have feedback for like false positive. If you dismiss, then you should get an UI option. At least that's what we wanted to implement at some point. When you dismiss, you should be able to set a reason for dismissal. And we have pre-made dismissal reasons, and you should be able to set them, but I am not aware myself, like where should they show up in the user interface? Because I'm currently working with translations for dismissal reasons. And when you're actually dismissing a vulnerability, you're creating a feedback using GraphQL. So if you're creating a dismissal feedback, like you're creating right now, it's not going to populate any dismissal reason, so it's going to be empty.
Okay, so that's why I was not able, because I thought, so somewhere here in the GraphQL, I see that we send the comment. Okay, this one is, yeah. So we send the comment, but I assume this comment is not the value that the backend expects, or right?
Oh, let
So
me check it.
For dismissal reason, it's like pre-populated 5 dismissal descriptions that we are sending. I think we are exposing in this page, which is not confined with. I don't think it's within the dismissal feedback. It's outside of these 5 reasons. Yeah, exactly.
So I would need to send these values when we dismiss, actually, right? I remember that we have an issue for this in the front end to have a sub drop down here, which we can choose the. Okay, so that's why it's not appearing right now. Okay.
I just shared the design issue for that, Savash. So that is work that we have upcoming.
The comment field itself, I think it's getting populated, but we don't like expose it. So what you're essentially sending us here is just, that's a different thing. The dismissal reason itself should be populated once you send something in the dismissal reason argument to the GraphQL mutation.
I think we are also exposing comment. I think it's a part of comment details or something. The details. I can see we are exposing comment details.
I see that the mutation itself also accepts comment, but I wasn't sure we actually exposed it.
One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's this one. Okay. Because I remember that we had the comment payload beforehand, but then we added dismissal reason, and I just remember some conversation around having both of them, which basically is doing the same thing. So kind of a backward compatibility, I think, but maybe I was wrong. Okay, so now it's all clear. But I still need help from a backender to generate this field in GraphQL. So if someone is willing to help me out afterwards, I'll be happy.
Which field were you talking about? Because I lost track of it at some point.
The dismissal reason. This one.
Dismissal reason will get populated once you send something as a dismissal reason.
As in the mutation?
Yep. The mutation to dismiss the vulnerability accepts an argument called dismissal reason. Once you pass
but I need to fetch it.
Sorry?
I need to fetch it afterwards. We're using the get query. But maybe we can continue this discussion.
Yeah, we can continue. Yeah. I might be not clear on something here.
Yeah. Okay. That was it. Thanks for the help.
How productive. What a great meeting, you guys. Thank you very much. We're at the end of our time. I'll share the recording for those who couldn't attend, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.